From Keanu's surprising comments about the next installment, to the franchise moving in a potentially different direction, director Chad Stahelski shares a disappointing update about John Wick 5. Coming off the heels of John Wick Chapter 4's release, Chad addressed the prospect of a potential John Wick 5, and claims that he and lead star Keanu Reeves are done for the moment. Yep, that's right. The two are planning on giving the franchise a rest, at least for now. They indicated that the next John Wick release may still be at least a couple of years away. Stahelski says that while he and Keanu are adamant about giving it a rest, the studio does have a plan in place. It's important to understand that it takes years to make a film, and a project can be in a studio's development pipeline for several years. Currently, Chad's waiting to see how the response will be to the fourth film, and we'll see where to go from there. And while the director and star are leaning towards pursuing other projects, Chad's made it clear that the pair intend to sit down and hash out the next John Wick story the way they always do, on a press tour. Chad claims every John Wick movie's been written or conceptualized at the Imperial Hotel in Japan during one of their press tours. It always starts with a few glasses of Japanese whiskey, and next thing you know, boom, they've got the next film, or at least a concept. Once the reviews for Chapter 4 are in, they plan to write ideas on napkins, and if those ideas stick, somewhere down the line, they'll take the leap and outline the screenplay. Did you know that Chad sees every John Wick movie in the franchise as his last one, but he always comes back to do another? With the fourth film hitting screens in North America on March 24th, excitement and anticipation is at an all-time high.
I want you to find your peace, but a good death only comes after a good life.
And fans hope that Part 5 will follow soon afterward. Back in 2020, Lionsgate CEO John Feltheimer revealed that Chapters 4 and 5 would be filmed back-to-back, but that didn't happen. Initially, most people assumed that one of the reasons for the change was due to the delays caused by the COVID pandemic, but Chad revealed exactly why Lionsgate's plan fell apart. He said that sometimes he needs a break between making films, to come up with fresh new ideas. Otherwise, he'd be stressed about making two movies instead of one phenomenal film. Makes sense. Chad says that he's not the kind of director who's able to project his vision years into the future and deliver two fantastic John Wick films back-to-back. For him to plan out 10 locations over the course of only 2 years is simply too much. And then there's also the fan factor. Chad thinks doing two movies back-to-back would be a total ripoff for fans as well. If he spends 200 days in production absolutely swamped and stressed out, fans of the franchise won't be getting him at his best. Chad also points to the fact that stunt and fight choreographers need time to think about fresh new moves to include in the films. Otherwise, the audience would get bored seeing the same moves over and over again. Ultimately though, the decision to make John Wick 5 rests with the studio. They're the ones who decide whether the team gets the green light or not. So, in reality, Chad has no clue when the franchise will end. He says the first film was an unexpected hit, a total goof, and that he only thought they'd make a fun action film, nothing more.
I'm thinking I'm back. I'm not afraid.
But 9 years later, here we are. Never in a million years did Chad think the John Wick franchise would explode the way it did and become one of the hottest franchises in the world. Keanu Reeves says the only reason they've had the opportunity to make these fantastic movies is that people love them. And it's not hard to see why. There's fight scenes that are meticulously planned, and an assassin who's in touch with his emotions. It doesn't get any better than that. With that said, I still haven't forgiven the first film for mercilessly killing off John's lovable little beagle.
That dog was a final gift from my dying wife.
Jonathan, you got out once. You dip so much as a pinky back into this pond, you may find something reaching out.
But I guess I'll have to let it go since the rest of the films haven't let the audiences down yet. The 54-year-old director's willing to continue the franchise until viewers are tired of seeing the deadly hitman grace their screens. But what's impressive is that fans are still clamoring for more John Wick. Even after nearly an entire decade of seeing Reeves kill more bad guys than I can count, the love fans have for this franchise is still burning red hot. and shows no signs of cooling off. The fourth film in the action thriller franchise was held up due to pandemic restrictions because of Reeves' scheduling conflicts and commitments to the Matrix films. And the actor's upcoming fourth film is already debuting at 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, with rave reviews. With several perfect scores received from various outlets, Chapter 4 is set to become the franchise's greatest installment yet. With such a response to the film, Chapter 5 has to be inevitable, right? So what's next for John Wick 5? Well, space seems to be a popular idea. I promise I'm not joking about this. The idea of switching things up and sending the main characters into the cosmos is fast becoming a major topic of conversation, especially in a post-Fast and Furious 9 world. So maybe the world's most dangerous assassin will head to space in the next film. I'd definitely be down to see that. As Chad contemplates his future with the action film franchise, he says he's willing to make these films with Reeves until they're physically incapable of doing it anymore. That's a bold statement. Keanu's open to the idea of finding more interesting ways to make his character suffer more than before, and Chad revealed that during the opening for Chapter 4, Reeves struck himself in the head while learning how to wield nunchucks. Man, that's gotta hurt. At this point, it's hard to imagine how Keanu could dedicate any more of himself to the franchise. But Chad says that's exactly what needs to happen for John Wick 5. Clearly, Keanu's really committed to the role. As for now, where the franchise will go remains up in the air. But that doesn't mean it's coming to an end. After Chapter 4, a spin-off film starring blonde star Ana de Armas titled Ballerina is in the works. Both Chad and Keanu are heavily involved in Ballerina.
Yeah, so Ballerina's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Chad's set to produce the film, while our favorite dog-loving assassin will likely make an appearance via a quick cameo. From there, an original streaming series on Starz titled The Continental will carry the John Wick torch forward. According to Chad, the future of the franchise is open-ended, but he and Reeves are happy to continue making more of these films for the rest of their careers. And while there's no set timeline for John Wick 5 right now, it'll get made in due time, when they're satisfied they have a solid story, with the help of some Japanese whiskey, of course. So it certainly feels like Chad and Reeves will be back for Chapter 5 sooner rather than later. And with Chapter 4 in the rearview mirror, perhaps only then can the director officially start working on Chapter 5.
Which was challenging.
With a bigger, better, and crazier Keanu Reeves in the lead.
To the limit.
Have we gone too far?
So, there you have it. From Keanu's surprising comments about the next installment, to the franchise moving in a potentially different direction. That was director Chad Stahelski's disappointing update about John Wick 5.